a mess is what this is.
Yeah, it is a mess. What's happening here is the Purge. These people on this inverted planet called Cocoon, it's sort of like an eggshell.
It's very hard to tell what this place is,
Yeah.
but it's basically a planet turned inside out. The ground is on the inside. Everyone lives on that ground on the inside.
Yeah, and they're all taken care of by these entities called XIII. XIII are these magical, seemingly mechanical beings that run everything on Cocoon.
They're like god machines,
Yeah,
essentially.
kinda. And they are... people have grown up afraid of Pulse, which is the larger world in which the atmosphere of which this smaller planet is situated in.
Yeah, Cocoon just kind of floats there in the atmosphere of Pulse.
They're so afraid of Pulse that when something Pulse-related appears in their structures, they not only try to get rid of it, but they decide that all the people living there and all the people visiting there on vacation need to be purged because they could be tainted by Pulse. There is a specific reason for that, and we're going to learn about what the C is very shortly. For now, we have Lightning. She's obviously unhinged. She's a little bit crazy and extremely violent. She's cutting through soldiers like butter. And she obviously does not care very much for her well-being or the safety of others around her. Final Fantasy, these are not good qualities to start off with, but Final Fantasy protagonists have not always been heroes in the traditional sense.
Yeah, she's definitely an anti-hero.
She's an anti-hero, but she grows.
Yeah.
They all do.
Yeah. The entire story is so character-based, and
What do you suppose this is?
that's the main thing that I really like about it.
Yeah.
The story is based on the
Fixing to dish me already,
characters, and the plot kind of grows around them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously, epic stuff happening, and, like we were saying, god machines and whatnot, but the characters are really driving this.
Yes, but that is a driving element of Final Fantasy for me. But the setting and the sense of wonder has always been a key, necessary element, and I feel like I've lost that in some of them. Sorry, I'm looking for something specific here, but I'm also trying to concentrate on talking. So, yeah, default battle command. I want that on abilities instead of auto battle. And this one definitely brings in a sense of wonder for me. To me, the name Final Fantasy, there is actually a reason they called the series that. But for me, it means that it's supposed to destroy the boundaries of the genre, and it's meant to create a fantasy that really captures our imagination and is something unique, something magical in a way that we have not yet seen.
And if you're not familiar with the Final Fantasy series, or if you're not, not a follower of it anyway, you'll probably notice that this is nothing like what you would expect from fantasy as a genre.
Yeah.
This is a
lot of people,
technological world. It looks sci-fi.
A lot of people do not like that because they say that it's lost being fantasy and has become science fiction. That is not true, and I'll explain why as the game progresses further.
And you'll see why as it progresses further.
This takes place in a technologically advanced world, but it is a fantasy, and there is very much magic. I personally am a big fan of the use of both archaic and ultra-modern imagery in the Final Fantasy series. That's actually been a repeating draw for me in the series since Final Fantasy VII. So,
for those who aren't familiar with the series, we should explain that the installments of the series are not always...
yeah, they're not connected.
They're all standalone.
Yeah, this is, for the most part, some of them take place in similar worlds, but this is a standalone. It is the first of a loosely connected series that it creates of its own, but it is not. You do not have to play previous parts of the series to understand what's going on. So where this is taking place is a place called the Hanging Edge. When I first played this, I thought this megatropolis was full of people, but it's actually just the people who were escaping from the Purge and trying to fight for their lives, and obviously Lightning and the other characters who we're going to meet, and the military who's trying to subdue them from trying to escape. And the rest of this area is almost completely abandoned, apparently. So in a way that's kind of creepy because the city still functions on its own, even though there's no one here. All of this is mostly just about entirely empty. And you can see bits of ground above it's literally a hanging edge. I mean, these buildings seem almost to be dangling from the ceiling. You can see all that sunlight trickling through. It's kind of a confusing environment, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure where everything is set up in this part of Cocoon.
Cocoon is confusing to begin with, but this is probably the most confusing part of it that they start us into.
Yeah, which again does not help people's introduction to the story because we're in this weird world. We don't know what's going on or why all these people are fighting.
Not wanting to get purged, I get. But taking on trained soldiers?
Better to die than get sent to Pulse. It's hell for
In this part of the game, even the main characters...
Because this place ain't exactly paradise.
domesticated peacekeepers. Nothing to worry about.
Maybe not for a soldier girl, but I'm trying to say, hey!
So Saz is just kind of clinging to Lightning because Saz is more or less a civilian. He's a pilot.
He's a pilot who has, he carries guns because it says the information about him that, if his ship went down, airship, that those are for self-defense from wild animals. You don't actually see wild animals for a while. All we see in the beginning here are
these mechanized or militarized units, which seem more like machines than animals. It's really kind of creepy, and not very much explanation is given. A little bit, but not very much is given as to why these creatures are machines.
It's explained why, it's not explained how.
Yeah, it's not explained how much of them is organic still, if any. So Lightning has some kind of agenda, and Saz doesn't know what it is, but Lightning is obviously the most dangerous person out here, so Saz is following her around because he thinks that she will not necessarily guarantee his survival, but might make it more likely at the very least.
No need to be pushing now.
So I'm looking a little bit around at the environment. I've played this several times. I've never noticed how archaic and how old and rusty that signpost is.
Yeah.
A little bit of, because like I said, this whole area is abandoned and it hasn't seen use in decades, maybe centuries. So.
I think it's supposed to be centuries. I think that this area was supposed to be abandoned after the War of Transgression, which you'll hear about a lot more later.
Yeah, and you also find out that it doesn't need people to function, which is why it's so lit up. All the lights are on, but literally nobody is home. Sorry, Saz, I didn't mean to get all up in your personal space like that.
Yeah, you must be real nice from up there.
I think Lightning's design for her gunblade is actually a lot cooler than Squall's for the fact that it actually makes sense that it's a military weapon. I will.
Those who aren't familiar with previous.
Yeah, I will. Sorry, but it's a military designed weapon that converts into a sword as a sidearm rather than the other way around. Lightning just happens to prefer the sword to the gun aspect of it, almost to comical.
Yeah. Out of the entire game, there is literally one battle where she uses it as a gun.
Well, she uses it interspersed, but she usually doesn't like to fire it unless she's doing a backflip, but we'll get to that.
She does love her backflips.
Yeah. So, we're getting into quite a lot of videos here. We're probably going to need to splice it up later, so... If you've been watching and there have been abrupt ends of videos and beginnings of new ones, I apologize for that. This is our first time doing this, and we do not have an ideal setup. And if there's the sound of traffic at all in the background, I apologize for that too. Hopefully it's not too overpowering, but we do not have an ideal setup for recording, but we decided to go with it anyways.
Preemptive strike.
Literally.
Rebels! So much for the element of surprise.
Not so much preemptive strike. I thought this was going to be the tutorial for the preemptive strike, but
It isn't.
it isn't. It's the tutorial for item usage. I hope you guys don't mind if I skip most of the tutorials. Again, comment if you're watching this and you would actually prefer that you see me do those, but I don't think the gameplay mechanics are necessarily necessary to enjoying the story, and I already know how to do all that, so.
I figure if someone really wants to know what the gameplay mechanics is interested in for that, they probably just want to play.
Maybe. One thing I do want to talk about, though, is if you've noticed by now, I'm only controlling Lightning. I'm not controlling Saz. He's acting on his own. This is one of the biggest complaints about this game. You only directly control the character that you're playing as. And even then, you can use auto battle. Ooh, Saz, you okay? I mean, I guess... So that's the Purge in a nutshell. They'll do anything to get rid of these people. They were supposed to relocate them to Pulse.
Do we turn back?
There's no time.
Then what do you suggest we do?
Quiet.
Hey! Wait!
And that, my friends, is why they call her Lightning.
The hell no! You're the only way out of here!
See, here in the beginning, she's really an asshole. She's perfectly content with not only leaving Saz behind, but she even punches him in the face to try to get him off of her. She has absolutely zero interest in taking care of him. But to be fair, she is on a very dangerous personal mission, and she doesn't want to drag him along, too. So again, the relationship to Final Fantasy VII, she has a lot in common with Cloud, which, depending on
leave this to me.
your opinion of this game and that game, you may love or hate that fact about her. But she's, in my opinion, she's very different from Cloud, but
Hey, this way.
I can see the similarities that people draw. As I was saying though, I'm not controlling Saz. Later on there is a game mechanic to sort of indirectly control the other two party members, and there's a lot of depth in strategy involved in that, even though it's very counterintuitive. At least at first. Alright, welcome back everyone. There was a train. We live by train tracks. It's loud. But
And as
cheap.
we all know, nothing good ever happens in Final Fantasy on a train.
Yeah. I
As
mean,
you've just seen in the beginning.
yeah. Alright, so I am going to try to speed through this part of the game a little more, but I do want to go over data log. Yeah. Sorry, folks.
This is also
I
one
can't
of the
stop
hardest
now.
Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, but this part is just I'm distracted, and I unpaused it a couple of times during the train, so. But yeah. Oh, that's the other thing is I'm not going to have the pro gaming skills of a lot of YouTubers. You guys are gonna watch me die a lot if you decide to stick around for the fun. So just get ready to see Lightning Crash kind of say no a lot, because that's gonna happen a lot. Right, we do have blips at this time of the game. This is our first little bit of strategy. Besides dealing with potion, Lightning has an area of effect ability called blitz, and it's kind of really hard to time if you get to fill out that gauge. Then do it. It's kind of hard to time it so that it'll be on the enemy that you want it to be. When the gauge fills up. I think something that helps is to not actually hit the confirm button until you're ready to have Lightning go and kill everything.